Yesterday, we did our biggest losers of campaign 2024. And today, we have part 2 of our biggest losers list. There were so many to get to. Late in the show, I added Joe Scarborough, and that's worthy of going back and listening to because he's absolutely one of them. Zero credibility left. None. But how could I have forgotten these guys, white dudes for Harris?
Women's freedom is Exhibit A after Donald Trump demolished the right to choose. But of course, men are also more free in a country where we have a president who stands up for things like access to abortion care.
What a variety of whiteness we have here. We got the dude, we got Pete. It's like a rainbow of beige.
Kamala is carrying on her shoulders 248 years of pain, of agony, of hope, of frustration.
I know that we have a lot of speakers. And afterward, of course, there's another Zoom that I invite you all to called Couches Against Trump, better known as CATS. And J.D. Vance is his mini-me. I even created my own cognitive test that describes the two of them. Sofa, dolphin, shark, cats, convict.
Okay, Governor Pritzker, why don't you go back to Illinois and work on transing some more kids, since that seems to be your family's life mission? Okay, you wonder who's behind all the trans messaging? The Pritzker family. We did a whole episode about it. Why don't you worry more about that than your weird acronyms that got you nowhere, shockingly. What the hell was he saying? Does anybody follow? Bradley Whitford, he starred on The West Wing and he thinks he's actually like a political operative. You were playing a role, sir. You learn nothing about actual politics. You make that clear with all of your commentary. A rainbow of beige. Big losers. Not quite as big as what part was she? White lady, white women for Kamala? Remember? I mean, like, speaking of dividing us into groups. Yeah. Who could forget the most annoying person of campaign 2024? Ariel.
As white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat. And instead, we can put our listening ears on. So do learn from and amplify the voices of those who have been historically marginalized, and use the privilege you have in order to push for systemic change. As white people, we have a lot to learn and unlearn. So do check your blind spots.
I've got my listening ears on, Ariel, and what I heard was a deafening roar from the working class Americans who are over you and your bullshit. How are they going to excise that? They put her on. This was like one of the big first Zoom calls for Kamala Harris after the coup. And this was the message. Like, they chose to put this person on and give her a forum and thought that was great messaging. I mean, good luck explaining to Ariel that we're no longer going to be doing that. That we're going to stop with the BIPOC, CRT, trans insanity. Like, I can't wait to watch it unfold. I wish you all the luck in the world. You're going to need it. The other big losers, the ridiculous, obviously partisan pollsters, including this guy, Allan Lichtman. Allan Lichtman is the guy who was touted as having gotten all the presidential races right, all the way going back, I don't know how many years, 20 plus years. He only got one wrong, and it was Bush v. Gore, and that one was only decided by the Supreme Court after like 500 votes divided the two men, so you could forgive him. So they really touted him as being the Nostradamus of predicting presidential elections. He has 13 keys, and he just keeps plugging them into every race. And if the keys come up a certain way, he just goes with that person's name, supposedly irrespective of his own partisan politics. And he said it was going to be Harris. And some people like Nate Silver said, I used your same keys just for fun, and they don't predict a Harris win. They actually predict a Trump win. And Allan got very upset and was given a forum all over cable news because they all needed to be told that Kamala was going to win. She's going to win. She's going to win. Don't worry. And so I'm going to play two sound bites from him. Here's the one right after she lost. Sot 13.
Look, my prediction for this presidential election was wrong. I own up to it. Right now, I am taking time off today, Wednesday, through my live show Thursday. My aim is to assess why the keys were wrong and what we can learn from this era and what the election means for the future of our country going forward.
Well, he took his time off, he did his assessment, and he has come back with the following piece of analysis. Look.
Do you think the issue is that Trump is beyond the keys and Trump changed the locks?
I think that's a little too glib. It's not just Trump. Trump blipped out tomorrow. Nothing much would change. It's the deeper forces that I outlined of deception, racism, misogyny, and xenophobia, which are by no means limited to Trump. Speaking of xenophobia, racism, did we get a Senate result in Arizona, Sam? Did that horrible woman lose?
It's not been called yet, but Ruben Gallego is up.
That's your nonpartisan analysis that you've been seeing all over the airwaves. Correct on every election since 1984, except for that one. That's him. He wasn't really wrong. The keys are perfect. It's just our racism and misogyny that trumped them this time around. Great job, Allan. You completely effed yourself. You have zero credibility left, and you are officially a biggest loser of 2024. How could I forget the media? And some specific players deserve a specific call out. Dana Bash of CNN. You were on the right track. You co-hosted that one debate between Trump and Biden with Jake Tapper, and you asked relatively anodyne questions. Really, you weren't the story that night because Joe Biden's mental meltdown was. But you had made it. You had made it through that first debate unscathed. And then you got the first sit down with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and you completely crapped the bed. You didn't ask any challenging questions. You were a supplicant in that interview. You let her get away with saying she had held her. No, I'm not in favor of banning fracking nonsense. And I've said that since 2020. You let her get away with it. She did not reverse her favor of a fracking ban in 2020. She had gone on stage in a vice presidential debate at the time and said she would support Joe Biden's policy of not banning fracking. That is not the same. You didn't push her on that at all. You let her cling to her emotional security white blanket next to her emotional security support governor. You didn't ask him any hard questions, and you completely set the tone for the media, giving them a hard pass on any questions. To their credit, only 60 Minutes with their mild-mannered reporter asking a few hard questions about the border would start at least a mild trend of asking a few tough questions, but it would take 6 weeks. You blew it. You are one of my biggest losers. Margaret Brennan over at CBS. Yes, you did not acquit yourself well, sister, in this election. You were one of the co-hosts of that vice presidential debate, and you were the one who kept trying to fact-check J.D. Vance falsely and then cut his mic when he tried to correct your crappy fact check about what was happening down on the Joe Biden border. You tried, you played, you lost, madam. Your co-host, Dora O'Donnell, was not much better at the debate, but she was a little better. And then she resumed her post on the CBS Evening News and her hard partisan coverage of said news. Every night in the week leading up to the presidential election, she got more and more rabid in the way she would open the show and frame what Trump was doing versus what Kamala Harris was doing. The examples were legion. They went completely viral. Both of you have sacrificed your credibility, at least whatever was left of it. And most of us are enjoying that. While we're on the media, ABC News. I mean, we all watched the debate between Kamala Harris and President Trump, and President Trump and David Muir and Lindsey Davis, his other two adversaries. Was there ever a more biased showing in a debate by the moderators? The so-called fact-checking, which, I mean, by my count, at least 9 out of 10, or 4 to 5, however many they did, were false. They kept interrupting him. Remember David Muir? Well, it didn't sound sarcastic to me. What? Mr. I am king of all emotions and I can read exact... Those two huge losers. ABC News was rated the most biased in its evening news coverage of this entire race by the Media Research Center, and they know of what they speak. And then there's my friend Mark Cuban. Oh, Mark. People are pointing out online that he's looking an awful lot like Rachel Maddow. They're not wrong. That's not a good thing, Mark. It's time to reevaluate your look. You've got a lot of money. You could go to a good hairstylist. You don't have to wear like the big liberal glasses, the huge dark glasses that they're all wearing now to lecture us. In fact, apropos of those two sad ladies we were showing you, the one crying with her kids and the other saying, divorce your husband. Somebody got on Twitter or TikTok and did like a mocking bit of these leftist meltdowns. We've got to show this lady. Look.
Okay, I'm going to guide you through. Now, shave the head. Glasses. I don't know where you get these big glasses, but we all have them. So if you want to be one of us, you've got to find these somewhere in a store. I don't know where I got these, but everybody's got the septum piercing. Get that right away. For some reason, that unites us. The passport. Get your passport. You're going to need it. Plan B. Pharmacy right away. You've got to go to your pharmacy and get your Plan B. And most importantly, you cannot wear a bra ever again. Okay, then there's this. You've got to do this. You've got to tape that baby up. You've got to tape it up. I'm going to just tell you, the blue bracelet. Don't forget the blue bracelet. Don't forget the blue bracelet so we know who we are. Okay. I don't know where to get these glasses. We all have them, and I can't tell you where to get them. I don't know. But I'm going to get some duct tape. I don't have any duct tape right now. I only had the packing tape, but I'm getting the duct tape.
I mean, that's like one step away from Mark Cuban right now. She's not wrong. It was well done by this woman. The blue bracelet is apparently their secret way of showing each other that they voted for Kamala. They're Team Blue. And they're in the resistance. They're pirates, just like Rachel. So, okay, how will we ever figure it out? Oh, you know what? I have news for you. We didn't need your bracelet. Your duct tape over your vag was enough for us to tell. It's amazing. So Mark Cuban, you were a huge loser, not only because you threw it all in for Kamala Harris, but because you made the disastrous mistake of saying there were no smart, intelligent, or strong, intelligent women who supported Donald Trump, and they showed up in droves on Tuesday to prove just how wrong you were. So suck it. Trust in the media is at an all-time low. Can you blame them? Let's be honest. There's very good reason for this. We're all seeing how stories can be shaped or buried or killed or manipulated, depending on who's in charge. And this is why I want to tell you about a platform that does not play by those rules, one that prioritizes transparency above all else. Listen to this. The platform's called Ground News, an app and website that gathers related articles from around the world in one place, highlighting each source's political bias and corporate influence. And they show you stories that are underreported by one side of the political spectrum. A recent Gallup survey showed declining trust in mass media, and guess who didn't cover it? Left-leaning media. On Ground News, more than 80% of the coverage of this story is coming from right-leaning sources. Ground News has an entire blind spot feed with stories like this that are receiving lopsided coverage. And my viewers get 50% off their Vantage plan, which gives you unlimited access to their website and to their app. They are independent. They are supported by subscribers, not corporate interests. Check them out at groundnews.com/Megyn. That's ground, GROUND, news.com/Megyn to take back control of the news you consume. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.